Hey, it's Michelle Visage, and you're listening to Strictly Between Us, radiotimes.com's Strictly Come Dancing podcast.
Hello and welcome to Strictly Between Us, the Strictly Come Dancing podcast powered by radiotimes.com. I'm one of your hosts, entertainment correspondent Kimberley Bond. I'd like to apologise for the delay this week. My vomiting bug and turned flu seemingly wiped out half the office, so I've only been able to record today, so sorry for the delay. I am joined by my news editor Emma Powell. How are you doing today, Emma?
I'm good.
And today we're going to discuss the explosive week we saw on the dance floor, which saw screaming judges, awkward jokes, and the return of Calvin Fletcher's hips as our couples pulled out all the stops in a bid to make it to Blackpool. But while Mike Bushell gave it his absolute all with his Paso Doble, it wasn't enough to see him through to Blackpool as he finally crashed out in the dance-off against Michelle Visage. Emma, did the right person go?
I loved Mike, and I really wanted Mike to make it to Blackpool because we say it all the time, Strictly is about the journey as well, and Mike has come on a journey, but Michelle was the far better dancer, and actually I would have been complaining this week if Michelle had gone over Mike, as much as I love him. I mean, the thing is, it's like we've had before. She had 36 points. She should not have been in the dance-off.
She was second, wasn't
exactly.
she? Yeah.
You know, she's 3 points away from topping the leaderboard. So, I mean, I don't quite know why people voted for her, or didn't vote for her rather, and it ended up with her in the dance-off. But, you know, we've seen these things happen before, and it was Mike's turn.
I mean, I'm with you. Like, I'm gutted. We both talk about how much we love Mike on this podcast. Yeah. I do kind of feel that the joke had worn a little thin, and I've said that before, because he was knocking out better dancers, but at the same time, Blackpool was made for Mike Bushell. It's got big camp energy. Him and Catchy would have done something amazing, I imagine. So for him to now be gone, does seem like a shame. And they didn't do Baby Shark, which is
I know, which is why I was
shame.
Maybe that was going to be the Blackpool one, by the seaside and all that.
But if he had knocked out Michelle, there would have been uproar, because she was by far, as you said, the better dancer, and she deserves to stay in the competition. Why do you think people didn't vote for Michelle? Because as we were saying, she was second on the leaderboard. She shouldn't really been there.
I don't know, but then maybe people just really didn't click with her dance this week. Last week, she did the American Smooth. I know you were saying that a lot of people were complaining about the outfit that she wore. Yeah,
so she wore something like a bright green. It was kind of like a housewife's prestige dress.
Yeah.
That was kind of like a play on that. And she didn't even really look like her. So I'm going to admit, I didn't watch Strictly on Saturday, and you caught up with it on Sunday.
Call yourself a fan.
I got a text from my mum saying, Michelle's great tonight. And I was just like, oh, okay. So when I saw the email in the morning saying she was in the bottom two, I was really taken aback. And then when we looked at radiotimes.com comments for when we did the piece on who got voted out, people were saying that Michelle's dress wasn't very nice. And I'm not saying that she didn't look amazing, but I don't feel like she looked like herself. So I think people kind of like almost forgot really how good her dance was, because it was amazing. It was funny, and you know, Giovanni was like kissing her arms. And it was like really cheeky. There was a little bit, I think, too much messing around at the beginning, where it was like Giovanni with the newspaper, and it was just kind of like, get dancing.
So it took time to get going. Yeah.
But otherwise it was by far one of her best dancers. So for her to be in the bottom two, I think she was as shocked as we were, if I'm honest.
Well, you would be, wouldn't you? If you come second, you're in the top three on the leaderboard, and then all of a sudden you're the last one standing there with Mike Bushell, and you've got to dance again. I think the thing with Michelle as well is, I was thinking about this earlier, she's very much, all her dances have been kind of sort of cabaret-esque, Chicago-esque.
Definitely.
Like you could see her on Broadway.
Yeah.
And then maybe this just was so different, and people have got used to seeing her doing the same sort of thing each week, and then maybe seeing her in this different outfit was a bit too much, and people sort of thought, you know what, actually she's not good this week, even though she was.
And I think as well, she might be suffering from the fact she's too good. Like people assume she's safe because she's second, so people don't vote for her, and that damages her because she hasn't got the public backing. I mean, I love Michelle Visage, and she is hugely popular amongst like fans of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah.
But is there much crossover with RuPaul's Drag Race fans and Strictly? Like, would they necessarily watch both shows? No, really.
I think she's got like a mountain to climb in the same way that Saffron did, in terms of the general audience that watch Strictly don't really know who either of those are, and same with Corinne. But then I feel like someone like Chris Ramsey, you might not have known him, but because he's quite out there and he's a comedian, he's quite funny. Someone like my nan loves him, but she's not necessarily warmed to Michelle Visage.
Yeah. I mean, she is fantastic, and she is a fantastic dancer, but again, it's that kind of, my mum is a huge Strictly fan. She's 65. She's going to kill me for saying that on this podcast.
I'm 50.
But she's going to be like, she doesn't look a day over 50, Sheila, don't worry. But she's, I don't think she knew who Michelle Visage was, and therefore it's longer to build that kind of rapport and relationship with someone like that.
Definitely.
What did make me laugh was when Mike Bushell was voted out and he like lifted ketchup above his head and like spun around. I was like, for God's sake.
Put it down, Mike.
What I thought was kind of a downer on this week's episode was, obviously this didn't happen on stage or on air, but it was when they were talking about death threats that Mike had received.
Yeah.
I cannot believe Strictly fans are sending death threats because it's such a genteel family show. For him to be receiving death threats for staying in the competition, which is the whole aim of the game, really blows my mind.
Also, he's got as much right as other people to be there.
Yeah.
He puts the time in. He's rehearsing non-stop. He's not so terrible like Anne Widdecombe was. No offence to Anne, but she was pretty bad. But, you know, so it's a competition. It's getting ridiculous. And I think it's hard to know, is it really Strictly fans who are sending death threats? Because I'm shocked that this kind of audience would actually find the time to send Mike Bushell death threats. And actually, Katia was talking on BBC Breakfast. Yeah. And she was saying, talking about Mike being trolled online, she said people were saying things, so I just deleted the Twitter and that was brilliant after that. When it's not in front of you, it doesn't exist, so I just got rid of it. I mean, it must really affect them as well, week on week. Like, she's trying her best to keep him in the competition. She can see him doing really well. They go out there every week knowing that they're going to get a barrage of abuse, and it's awful.
And it's the fact that it's resorting to deleting your Twitter just to avoid those comments is absolutely appalling. And I mean, it's not just a problem symptomatic with Strictly, it's all shows at the minute. If you know, do something that people don't like, you will anger trolls and get a barrage of awful abuse, which no one deserves. Even if you're not a huge fan of Strictly this year, that doesn't mean you should send people death threats. It's appalling.
I mean, death threats
really
is
shocking.
just absolutely ridiculous. But you also sort of think, you know, is it going to get to the point where people will either not want to do these shows for fear of being targeted, or is it going to be the sad existence that we just have to accept that we're going to get a barrage of abuse if we put ourselves forward for shows like this? It's so sad.
Like shows like Strictly obviously vibe off like the viewer interaction with it, but it'd be a shame to cut that all together because some people cannot control their temper and be like, oh my God, Mike Bushell through again. How dare he live? Like, what? It just doesn't make sense to me. On a slightly more positive note, Neil Jones returned with Alex Scott this week, and I loved their dance this week. I thought it was a fun jive. Yeah. There were reports, which, you know, every report we have to take with a pinch of salt, that Alex wasn't too happy or was a bit frustrated that she was now back with Neil. I don't know if I believe that, because their chemistry in the terms of friendship, like they are very close.
Be careful, no Strictly curse.
They seem to get on so well, and she seemed to be genuinely happy. To be back with him. And she did do really well with Kevin. I mean, like, they got on really well, they got really good scores, but I feel like in the least mean possible way, Neil perhaps taking some time out was the best thing for Alex, because as we were saying, we've now seen more of her. And it was nice to see her, you know, really enjoy herself this week and be back with her original partner. I think she was over the moon with that. And I don't really blame her if she did get frustrated, because how hard must it be, like, learning a dance with someone and then someone else comes in and then, you know, that constant toing and froing, you would be like, for God's sake, what am I doing?
Because he was there in rehearsals. Like the clip at the beginning of their first dance where they do the little VT. Kevin was sort of there with them, and then all of a sudden it's, oh, Neil can dance with you this week. So I do, like you said, get her frustrations. And as well, like, I really like Kevin. And I think, you know, people have got, over the years, they've got more used to Kevin than they have Neil, because this is the first time he's had a partner. But no, I think Alex and Neil get on really well. And they have done from day one. They're constantly posting stories. I mean, it's probably the case that someone has said something like, oh, you know, Alex is frustrated that she's got two people to dance with this week, which is totally acceptable if that is what's been said. And then it's been blown out of proportion into Alex hates Neil, she wants Kevin as her partner.
I also found it quite funny, if not a little bit kind of like awkward, when Motzi was just like, it's like someone's had an affair and they've come back. And she's like, Motzi wasn't here last year when that happened. But
did she miss it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit kind of cringe. The whole audience was like,
but I love the first time.
I mean, I love Motzi, and obviously it wasn't intended. It was laughed off. So I think they just about got away with it. But yeah, it's nice to see Motzi delivering criticism in a humorous way. Whether she meant it or not, it's nice to have that dynamic.
Oh, she's been a great addition to the panel.
We're a huge fan. We've said this so many times. We love Motzi. It was also a really good week for Saffron Barker, who topped the leaderboard with quite a... What was her dance again? I've got it in my notes. She did lovely...
Oh, the waltz.
Waltz, yes.
I was literally looking at it. thought it was a different one. She did the waltz to your song, but Ellie Goulding's version of Elton's classic.
Yeah. And that was really lovely to see, because it was a bit like, for me, it was her Alex Scott moment. Like, she's topped the leaderboard before, but she was very stripped back and it was very, like, slow. And I think AJ is a miracle worker, because she, like, compared to last week when she was a bit all over the place and a bit all kind of limby, she was now a bit more, like, you know, smooth, and
she's getting it now. She's in that transition period where she's kind of becoming more like a dancer rather than a celebrity trying to dance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I kind of feel like, you know, she is a real contender. I know we've always had our eye on Kelvin, Michelle and Karim, but now I feel like Saffron is really coming up, and having had this journey, you're more inclined to watch her and vote for her. You're like, oh, she's great.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Karim's actually dropped down. He was 6 out of 8 this week.
Yeah, he did not have a good week. He was so tearful on Saturday, / Sunday when I watched it. Because he made quite obvious mistakes in his dance, and you could tell how much this means to him, because even though he still looked amazing in doing the Viennese waltz, he did make quite 2 visible mistakes that the judges all picked up on. And the fact he looked like he was just going to explode into, like, really loud,
you just want to give him a hug.
Tears. I was like, oh,
no, Karim.
But I still feel like, you know, he is still a contender in this competition. But I was going to ask you whether you think the pressure's getting to him a bit, because he's the hot favourite, really. Everyone's backing him. Do you feel like this might be something that is putting pressure on him to do well?
Yeah, and I think if you make a mistake, that's going to throw you. And especially he made 2 mistakes. I mean, the saving grace for him is he didn't make the dance off. So he knows he's got more public backing than support, like Mike and Michelle did. Yeah. So he should take that as a comfort. But I feel like if it was me and I'd made 2 mistakes and I was dropping down that leaderboard this week, that almost like a bit of a hurdle to overcome while training for the next one. And the pressure's on, because he'll get out on the dance floor on Saturday, and it probably will be playing on his mind that, you know, he messed up last week. Will he do it again? Sort of that fear sets in, doesn't it? All he needs is one good dance, and I'm sure he'll be fine.
With Michelle in the dance-off, it proves that no one is safe. So I can imagine he must be like, oh, God. But, you know, he is so fantastic. It would be a crime for him not to get to the final.
But then that's quite good in a way, that they've all got this sort of fear in a sense that they're not all safe. Because if you do have someone who thinks they're comfortable, they might slightly take their foot off the pedal and then it's all over. So in a way, it's kind of going to keep pushing all of them to keep trying to get these top scores.
I think another standout couple for the week was Emma Barton and Anton with their amazing kind of jazz piece. So it was very much like Charles Venn and Karen Hauer vibes, because it was very much the same kind of outfit. But I think she so deserved to go through. She obviously has struggled with scores. She's been quite low on the leaderboard before, and she got quite emotional talking about this dance and doing it. I feel like it was the right dance at the right time. She so deserved to go through to Blackpool. And it's nice for Anton to actually go with a partner. So, I mean, I imagine he's over the moon. And it's also another great week for Karen Hauer and Chris Ramsey. They didn't do that well. They were like second from bottom, I believe.
Yep, 7th, 26 points with the tango.
They weren't in the bottom 2. And this is Karen Hauer, like a record-breaking week for her, because it's the first time she's going to Blackpool without ever being in the bottom 2.
Oh, so she's
that's
really so good.
I
didn't know that.
And I loved them. Like, I know that Frances had mixed opinions on their Let's Get Ready to Rumble dance last week, but I feel like, you know, that has really got public support for them, because everyone loves Anton Deck. Everyone likes how funny he is. So I feel like he's doing really well in this competition. I'd like him to go further than Blackpool, but because, you know, the competition's getting really tight now. Whether he will.
But again, like, it's not always about the dancing. Like, if he's got the big sort of crowd support behind him, he might well make it to the final. I know he tweeted yesterday, I think there was one bookmaker, so I can't remember who it was, had put him down as 100-1 to win the show, and he was like, thanks for having so much faith in me. So I almost want him to get to the final as almost like a 2 fingers up to everyone who was like, he'll never make it.
I mean, he said at the beginning he thought he was the joke act, and he's not actually. He's, you know, there's moments where you're like, Chris Ramsey, you're great. So I'm really backing him, and I love him and Karen. I think they're such a good partnership.
Yeah, it's got a good dynamic.
I really want them to go as far as possible. Obviously, it's that time again in the podcast we talk about Kelvin Fletcher. He closed the show with his amazing salsa. What did you kind of make, like, it was the return of the hips, and everyone called him Mr. Powerful Musical Hips. I think that's what Craig said. He was great. For me, this might be heresy, but it wasn't as good as his first samba.
Do you think that's because he did so well that first time? We're just expecting, like, out of this world kind of like hip action
Yeah.
from Kelvin now.
I mean, I've made no secret how much of a fan I was of that first dance. It was incredible. I feel like now, because we know him for that, it's lost that shock factor. So when he does kind of shake his hips, it's like, Kelvin's shaking his hips again. Like, I'm enjoying it.
Like, we love it. We know he can do it, but
we've seen it now. So I kind of want to see a little bit more from him.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's so good. And he's so kind of like shy about it as well, which makes him sexier. Sorry. As we're recording ever so slightly late this week, sorry again, we can also reveal the dancers for Blackpool. Emma, who are you looking forward to?
Michelle Visage.
Oh my God, she's voguing.
Oh my God, I cannot wait. I know. Couples choice. This is what I was going to say, actually. This could be her week to top the leaderboard because Emma Barton did really well this week with Couples Choice.
Yeah.
Will Bailey, when he was in it, bless him, he had to drop out.
Yeah.
His Couples Choice was amazing, so emotional. I feel like this year the Couples Choice ones have been almost like their best dances.
I mean, I was saying this to Francis. I feel like they always do well with Couples Choice.
Yeah.
And because of that, you should kind of hold it in a little bit until it's a really important week so you can get through, because everyone's done really well. Like, even Dev and Diane, they left quite a while ago, but even their like Couples Choice for Movies Week was fantastic. Yeah. So I really think that this could be her chance to top the leaderboard. I mean, we might even see our first 40 if she was to do it, because she is made for that dance. She will be fantastic.
Oh, definitely. She'll be great.
So I cannot wait for her. I'm also excited for Alex and Neil's Paso Doble to Beyonce's Girls, which seems a bit of a strange marriage. Yeah. But because Girls is a powerful song, but it's kind of like, you know, quite fast. Well, Paso Doble
is it a Paso Doble?
It's quite slow and like deliberate, I always feel.
And a bit more stern.
Yeah, so I feel like, how will this work? I'm intrigued to see it. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm backing them. So
has she done a Paso Doble yet?
I don't think she has. And then another couple who I am really looking forward to is Chris and Karen doing a salsa. I don't know how well he will be.
We're going to be comparing him to Kelvin next week.
I mean, he's quite famously, his body is on holiday, as Moxie said. So whether he will be able to do a salsa. But I love Uptown Funk. Yeah. And we've said this before on the podcast. When you do like a song like that, like a song that everyone knows, and everyone can like get up and dance to, that takes you a long way.
I really want to know if he has actually gone to Kelvin. Look, mate, please, just a quick like class in how to move my hips.
I mean, Kevin did, apparently. Kevin was just like, I wish I could move my hips like that.
He's a dancer.
Yeah, so, I mean, if Kelvin's giving out like hip shaking lessons,
I wouldn't mind a lesson.
I mean, we'd come along, yeah. But yeah, is there anyone else you're kind of looking forward to seeing next week?
Emma and Anton, just because she's slowly become a bit of a favourite. Because I feel like she's obviously done Anton a massive favour this year because she's allowed him to get further in the competition. But she's been around like 5th place a lot of the time, and I feel like one week she's just going to make that jump. And I really want it to be this week. Yeah.
Who do you think will be in trouble?
Ooh.
I think it might be the end for Chris and Karen. Which will be, I think he'll be happy to have made it to Blackpool, but I don't know, because looking at who's left, who's he going to knock out? Like, who could?
It's true.
It would be a really.
But then you never know. It could be someone surprising, like Alex Scott or Michelle Visage again.
Yeah, I mean, if she vogues and she doesn't, and she gets into the dance off, I'm
fuming.
I'm quitting. I'm not doing this anymore.
I do feel it could be Chris.
Yeah, I feel like he must know as well that he might have limited time in this competition, which is a shame, because obviously we'd love to see him do more, but who would I rather see over him?
Exactly.
That's the thing. It's like...
But then again, I feel like Karim, if he has another sort of bad week, it could affect how viewers vote.
Yeah, I mean, we have to wait and see how it all goes on Saturday, but that's all we've got time for on this week's Strictly Between Us. A big thank you to Emma Powell for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Join us again next week for more news, views and backstage gossip straight from Strictly itself, and be sure to subscribe to hear our dulcet tones every Monday morning. Thanks for listening. See you next week.